welcome everybody. We're at S4 and talking to Vivek of Frenos Corporation. Good to see you again.
Likewise, nice to meet you and thanks for having me.
Now, glad to have you. Now, you've just switched roles and joined a new organization.
That's right.
Tell us about that switch real quick.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's been a couple weeks since I started with a new company called Frenos. It's a startup. We just got seed funding. We're all about prioritizing OT risk and giving customers some immediate value compared to some of the previous roles I've had where it takes quite some time to realize the value.
Thank you, Vivek, for that. Now, cyber threats are evolving fast in the regulation. How can companies future-proof their OT operation? Talk a little bit about that. You're talking day in, day out. Today you had a lot of end-user talks. So.
Right. Yeah, waiting till regulations is like waiting till the doctor tells you you're about to get a heart attack and stop eating fries, right? We all have to do the right things way before things are really bad. So I think in terms of OT security now, most people have at this point understood that it's an underserved segment of their organization. They've only focused on IT security, so it's time to do something, right? Start with doing something in OT security and not wait till Big Brother tells you what to do.
Right, it was great to see folks like the Moody's of the world, insurance company all over this, so definitely is getting attention. Now talk a little about some of the common yet critical OT security mistakes that industry unknowingly makes, and how can they fix it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Most people, especially like we just talked, focus on IT security, don't really do anything with OT security, but then when they do it, they make it a science project, right? OT security is not that new anymore. 15 plus years of history, a lot of companies, different products, different solutions available. So the biggest mistake I see is treating this as a science project and saying, oh, it's just too big. Let me do a full-blown assessment. It'll take 6 months and it'll require 3 years of budgeting and funding. So all along, all they're trying to do is just delay the actual stop, right? So the big mistake I see typically is just waiting too long or trying to boil the ocean as opposed to starting with some quick wins.
Have you found a secret of, you're selling something that is not generating necessarily revenue. It's like when the machine stops, then it's failures. Found a magic way to sell that to the end user?
More than selling, I think you raise a really interesting point. If security tools are just insurance, it's very hard for customers to purchase them, right? Those companies, those products that can show value outside of the insurance field will always get the first look, right? So if you have old infrastructure and if you update the infrastructure, which brings security infrastructure, security capabilities, but at the same time gives you more functionality, maybe more opportunities to be a reliable operation, maybe keep your uptime higher. So whatever it takes to make more money, those things would always work better.
Got it, thank you. Now, obviously skilled labor shortages in OT security are growing. Any advice on how organization can build resilience with limited resources?
Yeah, that's one of the major problems we have. Labor is key. We don't have a lot of people in OT that understand ICS technologies, that understand IT technologies, that are capable of handling automation. So I don't think we can solve the labor problem directly. We'll talk probably more about how to train people. But in general, the key is to leverage automation, right? So find the right kind of policies, right kind of technology that can help you with automation so that you can do more with the same people. Leverage whatever it takes, AI, LLMs, whatever knowledge sharing you can do, whatever you can process and put in a technology that can help your resources be more efficient, right? So that way one person can handle maybe more than one site if they had the right technology, policies, and process in place.
Thank you for those insights. Now, I know your role at Frenos involves helping organizations assess, prioritize, and defend their critical infrastructure. What's the biggest challenge companies face in this process, and how do you guide them through it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Most people struggle to get immediate results from OT security investments, right? They typically have to wait upwards of 12 months to maybe even 2 years sometimes to be able to say we've achieved a level of maturity. So what Frenos is trying to do is to cut short the time required by making assessments repeatable, consistent, and continuous. That way, whatever actions you need to do today can be done today. Whatever actions that you could plan for the next day or two, or in the near future, you can plan. Overall, the key is to prioritize what are your biggest risks and what you can defend today, right? That way, when your management asks you, what is my biggest risk and how am I addressing it, you have a clear answer to say, these are my particular risks and I'm able to address them today, as opposed to waiting for a whole year or two before you get a solution in place.
Thanks for that. So now, is there a low-hanging fruit or an immediate action that security teams can take today to improve their OT posture significantly, that based on what you've seen so far?
It is interesting. I like the question because the low-hanging fruit is not technology. The low-hanging fruit is awareness, right? If you train your people, and that's why I said we'll talk about it later, I think people are the most significant strength that can quickly change, because if you have a group of people that are not security aware, and that's your biggest risk, whether it's unknowingly insider threat or knowingly misconfiguration or some other possibilities, if you can get them trained, this is relatively easier and cheaper, and overall best to start with the people that then can figure out what technology works best for the environment. So the lowest hanging fruit in my mind is to improve security training for your own personnel.
Vivek, thank you for the insights. I'd be remiss not to ask. We're at Dale's show and he likes that metric. What's your favorite cybersecurity metrics for OT?
That's a great question, because I was in that metrics show. I was one of the 6 people that just talked about what metrics would make sense. I did not win, but my metric was use safety as an opportunity, right? A lot of end users, OT end users, have a strong foundation in safety, so they understand why safety is important, why you would invest every year in safety training, safety tools, PPE, repeat checks. So use the same behavior for security. So whatever security measures you want to now newly incorporate into your world, try to connect them with safety, right? So maybe measure safety like near misses, find something equivalent in security. It could be alerts, it could be cyber incidents, right? Compare them to safety so that people can relate to it and then follow, because now they understand the key importance of security just as much as it is for safety.
Thanks. And if you have questions for Vivek in the audience, feel free to leverage the hashtag you see there. We'll make sure his team gets it. And not only that, but we'll bring Vivek back to one of our online sessions during IoT World Days, whether it's manufacturing or OT security day.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me.